John Steinbeck's East of Eden. I just finished reading it. I swept through the first part of it. It's 602 pages long, so it's not a short novel. I whizzed through the first several hundred pages up until the last about 70 pages. I had kind of stopped because of I had to move, and I was going through some personal difficulties right then. So anyway, I read right through it, and it taken on its own terms. It's really good. I mean, it's an enthralling historical story. The sweep of history is the main protagonist, and character change is the theme and the main character in the novel that sweeps everything along, and from generation to generation change, but the effects of the previous generation on the current one. So there's a lot of stuff about all that. Of course, it's called East of Eden, which does refer to the I guess Genesis story about Adam and Eve and Eden, and in this case, it also deals with and actually heightens, as far as are concerned, is not the main story of the temptation and the fall into knowledge and all that, but the rivalry between the two brothers, Cain and Abel, for the love of the father, and how that really is the main story that drives us along, a feeling of rejection. So that's the theme that he explores in the novel, and it's all great. A lot of the details, though, it suffers a little bit in that, for one thing, one of the main characters and the character that is to represent evil is Kathy, who becomes Kate, and she is she's a serial killer. That's what she is, of the kind of worst and most heartless kind. Part of it is justified, but on the other part of it is completely unjustified, that I recall, and heartless. How she starts her career of crime, and dastardly deeds. So she is indeed a horror. So, but she is introduced as a monster, and basically pawning it all off with the kind of narrator saying, of course, that some people are just monsters. There are monsters born among us, and as if that's, as we all know, there are monsters, and so let's accept the monster here is the monster of this story. So Kathy and then Kate, where she changes into, it becomes the monster. Why she doesn't move a little further from where she lived, I don't know, but now I should have put the little muffler on the mic, but I didn't. Anyway, so, and other things of how it all gets revealed, how it gets revealed to Cal in this with this drunk who doesn't recognize him because he gets so drunk. The drunk guy thinks he's not with Cal, but with someone else. So that was a little. I thought that scene was a little over the top as well. So it's all good. It's all the sweep of change, and how bad money can be used by good people afterwards. Like if you inherit money from a source that well, actually, all the money in this story has come from some kind of corruption. First, the grandfather Cyrus in the story is a liar and lies about his serving in the Civil War, and makes a big career for himself out of his lies, and makes a whole lot of money and leaves it to his sons, who which causes one of the sons, Adam, to be able to buy this beautiful ranch out west, and bring out his beautiful new wife, which is where the whole problem was, in that he had married, picked up Kathy as she had been beaten up and left and crawled to their doorstep, and he had married her and brought her out there, and it all unraveled from there. So yeah, it's as I said, it's a big historical story. So it has feelings of intimacy, like it's getting close to intimacy, but then the sweep of the story comes in and takes every. So we focus on a lot of people. One of the characters we learn the most about and focus most on is Lee, who is the Chinese housekeeper that Adam's family hires. So Lee comes in with like his pidgin English right off, but then from there shows that he can really speak English just fine, and is in fact kind of the brightest person in the house, the most attentive to what's really going on, the wisest, the most well-read, and really offers a lot to the family, to the two boys who are left motherless because of this Kathy, Kate, and Adam's situation, and who are basically fatherless too because of Adam's alienation from them, which ended up having a good cause for that. See, when does he learn about that? He learns about that somewhere along the line. But anyway, not to reveal too much, but to say that I don't think about Steinbeck all that much, although I did read The Grapes of Wrath many years ago, and loved it, and it's great. Oh, this one doesn't really. This isn't one thing about this novel is it does not touch anything of the same time of what's going on, like in urban life. It's all these people that kind of have some money out here, or kind of had money and got into these ranches and are subsiding out there, or doing well if they can really grow things on their ranch. There's not a lot of water and stuff out there, so that's the deal. So many people have bought dry land, which is not really that farmable. So, yeah, Lee is the one we really get to know, and how Lee is revealed from the doing all that stuff, doing this sort of a Chinese blackface character to revealing what he is really like is all a good part of the story. So. The brother rivalry, it all goes into a very sad place, and it is very much a tragedy in that way, in that probably a tragedy because of the lies of the father in this case. That had he told what was going on earlier and revealed this situation, it maybe the tragedy would not have occurred in the way it did, and would have been averted, because it would have been something known and understood by then and processed, and not this late in life big surprise in this really most horrible way that it is presented in the story. And there's a lot of certain things that are not that are current in the novel too, like what is going on in Kate's house of ill repute there in town, where the whole prostitution business is dealt with as kind of matter-of-factly, like, well, there in these towns there are these in this town there's these three establishments you can go to, and one of them is like this, and one of them is like that, and one of them, and so it's just like, I don't know where that all fits in our current. I mean, I know of online pornography and prostitution and all these things, but I don't know where all that fits into current culture. This seems like an old world where, naturally, married men would also go out to these places occasionally. And I don't know if that's the way it is now or not, if it's taken as something that men actually do, whether they're in a relationship or not, visit prostitutes. I don't know, but anyway, because that's part of the story here, and what goes on there is it's like a Jeffrey Epstein situation, where she's keeping photographs of guys in compromising situations, town dignitaries and so forth, and so forth, keeping them in blackmail. She can't, you can't turn her in, or I have this stuff on you. So that seemed relevant, and the only thing I thought about with that was Jeffrey Epstein and the tapes he had, and whatever went on up there with him and his people, and his recording and everything like that. So East of Eden. East of Eden's a good novel. I liked it. No class consciousness though. That's what I was going to say. Did I say that earlier or skip it? Yeah, it isn't really, where even like Grapes of Wrath, feels like more of a class story about these these people ended up getting forced into migrant labor for not that much money, whatever goes on in the novel. I think they just end up with no work at all ultimately, but there's more of a group class dynamic. This is all kind of diffracted into these families, and there's not really any kind of class war stuff going on in it at all, which is kind of odd, and maybe it is kind of 50s. I don't know. I mean, the novel came out in is finished in 1951, and came out in 1952. So it's 71 years old, as I know too well with those years. So yeah, I mean, John Steinbeck won the Nobel Prize then a few years after. Oh, and the difference between, you see the movie of East of Eden. Of course, the characters in that movie. It doesn't. What goes on in that movie is like 2/3 into the novel. So it's way later in the novel when anything like those characters. Cal and Aaron show up. So, movies of big, great novels, they just, they don't make a whole lot of sense. I don't really. Novels are just so much better, and I don't, I never have a whole lot of hope for any adaptations that I might see. So